How does it feel getting the makeup done, Ali?
Very, very cold.
Very cold.
Very cold.
Well, lucky for you, the theatre's heated, and so is Chatty. Charlie's already cramping up. We just lost our lights.
Yeah.
Chadstone, the dark capital. I feel like I'm spruiking today in the shopping centre. I guarantee we're not selling anything. Ali's not at a discount price today, sorry.
So I'm just going through with a smaller brush and filling in the finer details inside Ali's ears.
Tickle, tickle. Hands up if you've seen the show. Oh, that! It's almost a 100% conversion rate. Well, as you can see by that massive poster down there, we have to close on the 7th of September. We've had a really good season so far, so if you haven't seen the show, make sure you come down. The beautiful Regent Theatre, so we've been filling that place most days, which is good. But yeah, we have to close on the 7th because we are going to Sydney. So thank you to all those who have seen us so far. For those who haven't, grab those tickets. We still have some really good seats available actually. The stalls are generally pretty full, but we have the lottery still, which is $35, and those seats kind of vary, but most of the time they're right down the front. So if you can come and see it again for $35, why not?
Okay, so now I'm just using an oil stick, which I put in the T-section and around the eyes, which is an oil-based product, which actually just helps to set the makeup a little bit more. Look up.
And Carl, did you get specific training for this? Like, is this the same product and everything that you used worldwide in all the touring companies?
Yeah, so in the beginning when we first set the Melbourne production up, Joe Delude II, the makeup designer, actually came out and taught us how to do the makeup. You do tend though, after a little while, to put your own spin on it as well. So you start with a basic from his design and then it kind of evolves.
Yeah, so, is it different for every Elphaba as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Each girl has a different face shape, different eye shapes, so you're contouring and highlighting to accentuate their best features.
And in Ali's case, what's the difference here that you need to do to accentuate Ali's features?
Ali actually has quite a nice big eye space, so I don't need to do as much changing the shape as I do on Gemma. So with Gemma I do more of an exaggerated eye shape, so I take it higher above her eye crease.
Right.
Whereas Ali, I just kind of follow her natural crease.
You got good creases, Ali. If you haven't been down too, we've got a display that's here for another 2 weeks. It's down on the ground floor, just around the corner. We've got some beautiful sunflowers down there. We've got some Emerald City costumes. I think the wizard costume's down there. We have a bubble dress down there as well, one of Glenda's bubble dresses. So if you haven't been down there, go check that out. And what next Thursday, the 7th? That's it. We actually have a performance here from two of the girls, and I'm not sure who it's going to be performing, but we are performing, and it's at 4:30 here at Chatty. Do you know whereabouts in the centre? At the costume display. So tell your friends. 4:30 next Thursday. Still filling in the gaps there, Cal?
Yes, so now I'm about to powder.
Powder.
Yeah.
This is the stuff that's all over the dressing room at the end of the
everywhere.
day. So what does the powder do, Cal?
It sets the makeup, so it's a translucent powder, so we don't lose the green colour. And we just apply lots of it.
Liberally. This is what stops the makeup coming off on other people as well. Although I do get green hands from as long as you're mine, depending on how hot the theatre is too and how clammy we both are. But I tend not to get a lot of it on my face anymore. When we were in Manila, I got a fair bit because it was quite hot in the theatre. And we just had, well, unfortunately when Ali busted her collarbone, she's back now, but we had an Elphaba standby come in from America, from the US touring company, and she was a sweater. And I thought I was a sweater, but she had beads of green makeup that would roll off her. So during As Long As You're Mine, I would come off quite green. So if you were in the front couple of rows, you would have seen the smear across my face. But generally with Ali and Gemma, they're pretty show fit. They don't really sweat all that much anymore. And so there's not a lot of transfer of green makeup anymore. So you've got a question?
Just wondering if the makeup is restrictive when you're trying to sing high notes and going for the big notes.
You can answer that, Ali.
Not at all. Not at all. It's you almost don't even notice that it's on once it's on. You can't really feel it. Initially, when I first started playing the role, I was really, really conscious of having the makeup on and of being green, and I did feel restricted when I first started, and I guess the longer you do it, the more natural it feels to be green. And these days, it does actually feel more natural to be green than it does to not be green.
Somebody who acts alongside the Green Girls, it's not offensive anymore at all. Not that it really ever was. It's kind of just, well, you'll see when you get the opportunity to look up close, it really is just like skin. And so you're just looking at a green person, really.
And it's quite light. It feels quite light when it's on, and it breathes really easily. It doesn't set hard. It sets like very. Does that have something to do with the type of?
This is water-based. Yeah.
Because it's water-based?
Yeah, it's not heavy on the skin. Okay, so I'm going to do the Act 2 makeup today, which is much more glamorous, more mature makeup as well. Act 1, the look is more youthful.
There's a bit of time difference between Act 1 and Act 2. So in Act 1, we're at school, we're at university. Act 2 is about a 7-year gap, I think. It's quite a while, so there is a big difference. As soon as the Elphaba comes off stage, she goes back to the dressing room, and Cal's in there creating a bit more of a mature look, which is what she's talking about now. So what's going on those eyebrows, Cal?
So I'm going to fill them in and arch them out and extend them out as well with black MAC Carbon eyeshadow.
MAC Carbon. Question, another one, great.
Hi there, I'm just wondering, for the makeup artists that do perspire a little bit more, would you use a fixer spray on top of that, or is it just a case of repowdering for continuity?
Reapplying and powdering, because we don't want to use a fixer spray on a performer's face with the fumes and stuff that might go into their throats.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Good question. Oh, another one, yeah.
Sorry. When we saw Wicked, we actually saw Ali and she was fantastic. What's the shortest time you've been told that you're needed? Like, obviously you have this, sometimes it might make close.
What's the shortest time?
I actually think it was...
About
It
6
would have only
minutes.
been about 6 or 5 minutes
Oh,
in
6
Act
minutes.
2 weeks
And I
ago.
must say, that was pretty good. That was a pretty good effort. I
My
think.
wig was a bit sus. It was kind
The
of,
wig.
had a
Your
bit of a
hairline was
receding
far back.
hairline. My eyebrows kind of were a bit. I had this like sarcastic look.
Yeah, what happens, unfortunately, we're only human, and sometimes things happen during the show, injuries, sickness, and you might go off mid-show, and that's where mayhem starts side stage, and we try and pick a spot on the show where we can swap the Elfies over. And I think we had our closest call only a couple of weeks ago, where after it happens during the Ozdas ballroom. That's the best place, and that's kind of like the longest time that we that you can get, really, because if the other Alfie on stage lets us know, or lets somebody else know, because she doesn't really leave. So she lets somebody know on stage that she's going off, and then while we're getting to the Oz Dust Ballroom moment, where the other Alfie doesn't have to sing, she leaves the stage, and then Ellie appears at the top of the stairs at the in the Oz Dust Ballroom. So we try and keep the transition as quick as possible, but we even had to get Ellie ready just before As Long As You Mind one day, so that was during Wizard Chamber 2, in Act 2, and we weren't expecting that one either, so... It is like a pit stop. Everybody gets together, all the HODs are notified.
Everyone backstage is incredible when you have to go on really fast, because you've got, 4 people surrounding you, and someone's painting your hands green, and someone's doing your pin curls, and someone's putting your wig on, and then Kel's there doing makeup, and it's like, it's so well oiled. Everyone knows exactly what they're doing, and that it's incredible. It's really fascinating to watch, but it's not at all helpful if you are standing around watching.
Correct. What are you up to now, Cal?
So I'm just going through now and highlighting with vanilla eyeshadow. Just going to bring out Ali's eyes and cheekbones.
Do you have a different eyelash on there too, Ali, or is that just your voluptuous lashes?
I get eyelash extensions done so that I permanently have long eyelashes. Just it helps if you're ready to go at any moment. You don't need to worry about like messing around with fake eyelashes, sticking them on. They're just there, ready.
Glues. Obviously, this kind of quality of makeup doesn't happen if she needs to go on mid-show. There's just like a bit of a slap of green, but in
pretty close
that,
though.
It's pretty close, yeah. The one you did a couple of weeks ago, Carl, was pretty bloody good, I've got to say.
Oh, thanks. We love that kind of stuff backstage, though.
Like a bit of excitement.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
When you first found out that you were going to play Elphaba at some stage, did you ever doubt yourself with those absolutely huge notes and defying gravity and As Long As Your Mind, things like that?
Never. Not at all. It's just fun. It's just like, yeah, no, I just relish it. I love it. As soon as I found out, I was like, yes, like I knew it would be a challenge, but no, not at all.
I remember because I did Legally Blonde with Ali. We were side stage one night and I was on for Warner. And Ali told me, I'm not sure if she was meant to or not. At that point, I didn't actually know about Fiyero either, interestingly to note. So I thought I was out of a job. And Ali told me just before we were about to walk on, and the excitement in her face was just ridiculous. I guess it's just one of those roles that it's like the holy grail of music theatre, really. Given how special and beautiful the show is and how well it's written, there's so many defining moments for Elphaba as a character journey, and so why wouldn't you want to get excited to play the role? Anything new that you're up to now, Cal?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So we've actually had a colour change with the makeup recently. So we used to use Purple Haze eyeshadow, but now we use Fig, which is a purple, which is a much warmer purple compared to Purple Haze. So this
is that only just recent?
Yeah. So I had a little email from Joe saying that it changed.
Right.
And this is what we use for all the shading.
Kel, who's Joe?
Joe DeLude is the makeup designer from America, who actually designed the original makeup.
So does that mean that the colour for all Elphabas across the world has changed and we are all now Fig?
You are correct.
You're all now Fig. Cal, just explaining before how we had Lily Cooper come. She's black. So is there any difference between doing
Caramel.
a black Elfie, sorry, caramel, than it is to do a white one?
Yep, so basically we had 3 different greens that we had to use to mix together to create this green.
Right. And is it only one for Ali?
Yes.
Right. Well, there you go. Is there any other
So
questions?
if I went on a holiday and got really tanned,
You'd be in big trouble.
Good answer, Cal. Any other questions while we're finishing this off? No? I'm sure some of you have some questions hiding away back there. Don't be nervous. Oh, just want to look away.
What's your favourite song to perform together?
Well,
really do one together.
separate. We do one, do As Long As You Mind. Which
Unless you want to do Define Gravity with me one day.
I can harmonise with Define Gravity. I need to bring it down a key. No, I really enjoy doing As Long As You Mind, because talking before about the character journeys, that is just such a huge pivotal moment for both of those guys. You know, they've been on the run for a while. It's the only place in the forest they can find to actually have this moment together. And so for both of them, it's do or die. You know, you've got to tell each other your feelings before you get killed, basically. And it's quite a difficult song for me to sing, and always has been. It's quite high for me. So for every night for me, it's a challenge, and that's one of the reasons why I love singing it. And obviously I do love doing Dancing for Life, but they're really only two songs. I don't know, what about you, Ali?
I was just going to say, For As Long As You Mind. Yeah. For As Long As You're Mine, it's also a really lovely, intimate moment as performers. I know, for me anyway, if I'm ever stressed out during a show, or you know, I'm feeling a bit vocally tired, or I'm a bit worried if I'm going to make it through the show, because obviously straight after As Long As You're Mine, you run off and then run back on and do No Good Deed, which is a bloody marathon and a half. And for me, it's a really nice calming moment to just be able to like sit down with Steve and kind of just sing to him, if that makes sense, and forget about everything else and just worry about that moment. And you're just there with one other person. You don't have, you know, thousands of people staring at you, listening to you sing. You can just focus on that one other moment and that one, that one time. I find it really calming.
Oh, isn't that nice? What are you doing now, Cal? I hope that answers your question, by the way.
Okay.
I'll come back in a sec.
So I'm just doing a smart eye line.
Smart Island.
Yeah. Extending out Ali's eye.
Is that same product you're using?
Yeah,
before?
it's matte carbon. The black.
Some question here.
How hard is it to take the makeup off after the show? Do you have to get in the shower, or is there something you use to take it off?
Yes, I do one of two things. Sometimes I'll have a shower and scrub it off, or sometimes if I'm in a rush, I'll just stand over the sink and scrub it off. But I use QV cleanser and just rub it on a flannel, basically, and then kind of just rub that all over my face first to break it up, and then I put water on it, and then I find it just wipes straight off. It's not too bad. The hardest places are the areas I can't see, like inside of my ears, and normally the back of my neck is a bit sus because I can't see it.
Generally, you're green for a few days after one show, and if you've done a few shows in a row, you generally have a bit of a green tinge to you for the rest of the week, hands especially. Now, you had another question, didn't you?
What was your first ever audition experience like?
That's a good question. You can have that, Ali. She actually looked at you then.
Oh, that's for me, so I can't see my eyes are close. My first ever audition experience, I was 9, and I auditioned for Les Mis in community theatre in Newcastle, which is where I'm from. And I sang Castle on a Cloud, and I'm sure that it was absolutely terrible, and I was so nervous, and I had never sung before, and I didn't really know that I could sing, but I just thought, I'll have a crack at that, and so I did. I didn't get in, But this time around, when Les Mis came up, you know, for the Melbourne season, I auditioned for Cosette, young Cosette again, Castle on a Cloud. Unfortunately, they didn't want me again. That's okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they went with a 7-year-old.
They call you again.
Cal, what's happening now? We're still doing some shading.
Yes.
Have you used that product yet that all the girls love?
I haven't, no.
Oh, we're coming up
It's
to
coming
that.
up though.
Stop it.
What about your first audition experience, Steve?
That would have been for, well, let's just say for music theatre, because we're, you know, doing music theatre. I auditioned for We Will Rock You, I think, and I rocked up to the dance hall in jeans, because I'm not a dancer, and a mellow yellow t-shirt, and they weren't very impressed. I hadn't really prepared. I'd learned my song with a backing track, and then when I got in there, I had to do it with a pianist, which is obvious now. So, yeah, look, it didn't go all that well. But in saying that, I'd never really auditioned for a music theatre show before. In fact, I hadn't, because I'm not a dancer, and I've been working very hard on my dancing. So now you can say that, you know, I'm a dancer and I can, you know, get through a dance call. But back in those days, nope. So I could get through the singing part okay and the acting part, but when you rock up to a dance call in jeans, yeah, pretty awful experience. But you know, I guess I learned from it. That's for sure. What do we got happening now, Cal?
I'm using golden olive pigment, which is a matte pigment powder, which we applied to all the highlighted areas on Ali's face, and it creates a nice shimmer sheen over her skin to really give that skin look on stage once she's hit with the lights.
Glinda and Elphaba also have different coloured spots,
Yeah, okay.
which you can only just tell when it kind of, you know, if you're doing a scene with her, or vice versa with Glinda. Glinda's actually got a tiny tinge of pink in her spotlight, and Elphie's obviously got a bit of a green tinge in her spotlight, just to give away a little trade secret.
Yeah.
I, however, don't, you know, I could have a little tan one. That could, you know, make me look a little bit darker. That'd be nice. Maybe I should request Large to do that for me. Large, can I get a little bit of bronze on?
So Ali is now applying a black lip pencil to her lips, and we'll fill them in with a black lipstick, and then powder that, and then we'll apply the golden olive pigment onto the lips as well.
And do you have to touch up the lips a lot during the show, Carl?
No,
No?
no.
Well, that's a testament to MAC makeup right there.
She has two different lip looks. Act one is just a green pencil called Forever Green, and the golden olive pigment as well.
Is that green one pretty dark as well?
What's that, sorry?
The green, is that pretty dark for Act 1?
Not overly.
So the difference in lip look for Act 1 and Act 2 is pretty drastic.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
You emo, Ellie. Get your black lippy on. And do you have to do anything with your hands? I know we're not doing the hands today, Ali, but do you want to, are the hands any different? Nails, etc.?
For my hands, I have to paint my nails green, obviously, and then I'll put I'll put moisturiser on them first. I find really helps, because for some reason the green really grabs onto your hands, and your palms are green after you take it off. No matter how much you scrub, they're just green. So I find moisturiser underneath really helps with that, and then a base of foundation again, and then we use the same water-based green, and I do it myself just with a sponge, and we do it green up to about here, and then the rest of it is body stocking.
Cool.
How long does Fiyero's makeup take?
About this long. No, I don't. The most I wear, depending on how I'm feeling, is just a tinted moisturiser. Otherwise, I don't wear makeup. Yeah. What's that product there you're using,
The
Ellie?
magic powder, the golden olive pigment.
The magic powder, golden olive. Why do the girls love the golden olive so much, Carl?
I think because it shimmers.
Shimmers.
Girls love a bit of shimmer.
What's your favourite cosy in the show, Ellie?
He's doing
Why
her
are you
lashes.
doing that?
I have to say Act 2 with the wings. That was not helpful. Act 2 with the no good deed wings, where I get to like stand over a fan and have a bit of an 80s moment and like flap these wings over a fan, and it's very like wind blowing in the hair and stuff, and the wig, the hair gets taken out, so it's all like in your face, and you're swanning around in this big black dress. It's a lot of fun.
And you do that all for me, don't you? Because you worry that I'm going to die. And you're saving my life. It is all about me, Alex. Oh, we're almost up to wig stage. Do you want to talk us through these wigs, Cal? Like how many wigs are in the show, and then tell us a little bit about the actual wig itself.
Yeah, so we have roughly 70 wigs in the show. They're all, bar 2 of them, human hair.
Mm-hmm.
Lace fronts. So they're individually hand knotted. You don't look inside. So the wigs are taken from a mould of the performer's head, and then the base is made and then knotted or wefted.
Right. How much is one of these wigs worth, Cal?
A few $1,000. Depends on the colour and the length of the wig.
Alright. So you go, I've got 70 wigs, and they're all worth a few grand each. And how often do they get maintained, Cal? Is it daily?
Absolutely. We have a department of 4, and we are constantly redoing them, washing them, setting them, dressing them. We have a lot of construction wigs as well, which take a lot of maintenance and time to maintain them. And the wigs are all designed by Tom Watson, who went off Susan Hilferty's, the costume designer's original sketches.
Right. And there's, interesting to note too, guys, there's nine, I think, touring companies at the moment in the world. And so we all have the same costumes, we all have the same wig design.
Actually, I just went on a holiday to Nashville in America,
There you go.
and I went to the shopping centre in Nashville, and I kid you not, they had almost exactly the same costume display as they have here in Chadstone. So I was just randomly in this shopping centre in the South, like deep South America, and I was like, oh my god, that's my work, that's my costume. And it was exactly the same costume. It was bizarre.
Because all the costumes and the costume designs come from New York. So just to keep, it's really for the story and to keep the validity of the story the same worldwide, so we can, create the same beautiful story that we can tell every night. And there's no point in doing it half and going out there with a, with an inferior costume. At what point in the show is this wig structure, Cal?
This would be in Act 2.
The top of Act 2?
No, she starts Act 2 in a bun. So then it comes out for As Long As You're Mine. This is her sexy, tussled.
Yeah, it is.
And Elphaba during Act 2, every time she comes off stage, has a hair change.
That's fact too.
Can be slight or big, but every time she comes off. It's high maintenance.
High maintenance. There is a bit of time travelled in Act 2. What's that product there you're using, Cal?
This is just a spirit gum glue, just to stick the lace down.
Right.
And then we have the hat.
The hat.
So this hat in the show actually has a microphone in it, sitting just there. You can kind of see a little bump there. That's where the microphone sits. And then I have another 2 microphones on my head as well.
All right.
There you go.
it is.
Good. Thank you, Cal. Thanks, Ellie. Now, is there any more questions while we're here?